So look, I think that different people have different perspectives on this, but for me, waking up early is one of the biggest hacks when it comes to personal and professional success. Being awake when most people are not gives you room to do the highest leverage work. And depending upon the kind of role that you're in, the highest leverage type of work is most often the work that's done alone. And the work that you must most often do alone is the work where you do to either develop yourself or develop a system because you're working independently or to launch highly leveraged or to do highly leveraged things. So that's a general truism. So the greatest fundamentally leverage you can execute is if you get 1% better at everything that you do because the compound effect will then carry over everything else that you're working upon. And it's very difficult to do that during the noise of any day. And the day starts typically for most people from probably 7 a.m. onwards, because that's when people start being active, start checking their phones. So waking up early is been a big way for me to separate myself in terms of my education, my success, and otherwise. So there is huge value to waking up early. People talk about staying up late. I think it's bullshit, frankly. Humans are not nocturnal. We're diurnal. We're designed biologically to be awake during daytime hours. That's what is designed with our circadian rhythm. People talk about night hours. I think that there's people that obviously do it and carve it out, but the vast majority of us function and operate better earlier than we do later. So the practical insights, as I was saying to Aaron, I have grown more personally. My relationship with Daniela improved in terms of our balance, less arguments, more intimacy, better life since I started waking up at 5 a.m. My professional success increased exponentially as well because I had more time to focus upon the more leveraged activities within work. And again, as I said, the hack is to wake up at 5 a.m. The way I wake up at 4:30 a.m. The way that I did that, per your point, Aaron, is I force myself to get up. What I do once I get up is not as relevant as just the getting up, because then the doing will tend to become more natural because it's ridiculous to wake up at 5 a.m. and start watching Netflix documentaries about crap. You just won't do it. You won't wake up at 9 a.m. or 5 a.m. to watch Jim Bro TikTok shorts, to watch any of that. Like, it would just be so ridiculous because you'll say the return or reward is not worthy of the pain. The compound effect of waking up at 4 or 5 a.m., it gives you 2 hours a day more than everyone else to do stuff that's productive. And we've all got different goals and different incentives. You've got your professional ones and then you've got personal ones. I want to be a better relationship partner. I want to be a better father. I want to be a better son. I want to be a better this, better that. It affords you the time to figure out some of those things. So that's why waking up early makes sense. I have made more money in the years subsequent to me waking up early, like a lot more money than the years previous, because I was able to separate myself quite quickly from my peers. And I would say that it's something that we all hear about. I don't think it's news to anyone in this room, without exception. But again, as ever, the consistency of effort required to do it is hard. It's hard. It's difficult. And most people probably, to include this room, most people probably don't do it. They probably try it once and then they stop. So the part that's difficult in most things in life is the commitment over time, because that's a very difficult thing to achieve. That's why habits, there's so much content out there on habit formation and consistency. Most people lack the discipline to stay up during the day because you begin to start with the migraines, and then you have, the transition to adjusting to a new habit is difficult. So I'd say that for me, practically now, talking about the wake up early habit, the way that I tend to enforce new habit formation, there's a couple of things that I do. I talk about it to as many people as possible, because that's why I do these videos now. And I talk about it because I teach when I talk, and I'm also teaching myself and reminding myself of lessons. So it's as much for me as it is for the audience, because it reminds me that, oh yeah, that fundamental, you know what, the last couple of weeks I've been slacking. I actually haven't been waking up at 4:30. I've been waking up at 6, 7, and I've lost discipline. So again, it's not about 100% consistency day upon day, because no one does that. It's about consistency over time. It's about what you do in the main, and that's the thing to optimize for. And it's about focusing on the overall trend as opposed to individual peaks and troughs, because everyone peaks, everyone troughs. Everyone's going to have a day where you don't wake up, you go out the night, but that's not the important part. It's have I seen consistent growth over time? So yeah, I'd say waking up early is straightforward concept. Most people don't do it because it's difficult, and I think that again, of course, it's about the why and it's just about hedging. I think like most activities, I mean, you need to have a why to hedge towards it and you need to figure out what your why is. But yeah, practically, don't worry about going to bed early because you will go to bed early because if you wake up early, and then practically the experience of the transition is difficult and you'll be awake and then there'll be a whole load of new habits that you'll need to form because you'll think, well, I'm awake at 5. What do I do? Normally, I'm used to waking up and I just start my day with whatever my job responsibilities entail. And you'll invariably begin to be productive during the day. And you will find that you will, over time, enjoy the time you have allocated to you because you'll be able to beat other people in the same role because your growth and your progress will be that much quicker. And again, I just go back to this fundamental. Most people at most things, I think, tend to fail because they don't build discipline in their life. And it's about the execution of the lesson. So that's why waking up early is big. That's how you accelerate anything that you do. Want to become a paid media ads guy? Wake up and do 2 hours of tutorials for 1 week, and you'll be that much better. Even if you actually don't sell the fucking thing, just learn it so you can sell it. And you can be that guy who already relies upon the fact that you're charismatic, that you're a great speaker, but you bring such an abundance of technical skill to the calls that you're just better than the average sales guy. That's how I'm, in some respects, better than most average sales guys because I learn at a technical level as well. And I know that most sales guys don't because they don't want to. So they don't want to wake up. They don't want to understand how negative keyword sets are part of a paid media campaign and also be able to take someone through a dashboard on a call because people get comfortable. But if you want to be a 1%er, then you begin by looking at what successful people do. Most successful people wake up fucking early unless they've got a type of work that takes them through the night. Notable exceptions would be someone like Joe Rogan, who podcasts from like 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. So clearly he's not going to wake up early. But that's not most people. He's a notable exception. Most people do their productive work in the daytime, and you want to use your brain at its peak to do things that selfishly can help you develop as a person. Learn more about sales, become a better salesperson. On the job learning to a degree, on the job learning is not leveraged because you have to approach the things that are in front of you, but you don't build the compound skills that will help you achieve then a 10x leap. And all of that stuff is offset because that's about the long goal, the growth of Sorab or Aaron or Troy 6 months out. It's kind of a deferred goal, and most people aren't able to defer that kind of value because it's more nourishing for your endorphins, your serotonin to get the quick fix. I ticked off something on my checkbox. I called that new contact that just came in. I did X, did Y. Whereas if you optimize your ability to be effective over the phone and you optimize your ability to learn a technical body of knowledge really quickly, that's how you actually get an outsized return over time. Because then the 1 in 10 calls that you do get that might be a $25,000 lead becomes a person who you actually sell at a $25,000 level. But most people just focus on ticking the boxes. Same thing with lead generation. Same thing with all of your principles. Like learn what the best are doing and then slowly build that into your processes, and at some point you'll experience an exponential leap. But that begins with just waking up fucking early, because then people revert back to the time. What time do I have? There's always time, because time is a function of priorities. And if you understand what your priorities are, then you'll make time. And it should be a priority for everybody to be excellent at what they do, because that invariably opens up doors that were once or previously closed to you. Because that's how doors open. You go in and you operate at an excellent level. And the way that you can do that absent experience is by having a learning or a model for acquiring new information and skills very, 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 very quickly. And the way that you do that is just wake the fuck up early because you don't deal with your boss or your business partner or your wife or your son or anyone. You just wake up and you do the fucking thing. And most people just don't want to do it. They talk about doing it, they do this, but they don't want to do it. Why? Because they don't do it. And why do I know? Because I see when people drop a message on WhatsApp. So I kind of get a sense of when people begin to be productive. And that's why most people's gains tend to be relatively incremental, whereas the focus and the head should be on exponential gains. So from 30 to 33, I'm 37. From 30 to 33, I made more money and had more success than I ever had from when I was fucking 21 to 30. And then from 34 to 36, I made more money again. But it all came from focusing on some of these compound pieces. And that begins with just understanding what's going to get me to where I need to go. And for most people, in the main, you don't yet have the knowledge to get you to where you need to go and the ability to execute. So that's why the waking up early thing is so simple in principle, but very, 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 very few people do it in practice. So most people have it. Most people typically have a kind of like an execution problem, and that's something that I hope that you'll kind of change and everybody if they have ambition for themselves or your fucking children, like whoever. It's like, well, if I go in and I dominate everything that I do, I have to operate in a manner that's different from everyone else around me. Unless I see someone who's gone from the bottom to the top extremely quickly. And if you don't have that as a reference point, then seek out that reference point. And the way that you seek out that reference point is by opening up time to go on that journey into uncharted territory. And the confines of the typical workday don't typically allow you to make such uncharted journey because you don't have the time, because immediate needs become a priority. And that's the same for everyone. My immediate need is to ensure clients come in short term, to ensure that you guys are happy and that you're happy and you perform short term. But long term, I need to optimize for overall company retention of staff, overall company retention of clients. But then super long term, or even midterm, I need to say, well, how do I take Pearl Lemon from 1.5 million to 10 million? What do I need to do? And then super long term, it's like, well, how do I build $100 million company? So those questions, as you can appreciate, can't be answered during the day-to-day work that I do. Does that make sense? Like there's no room for me to figure out how to make Pearl Lemon $100 million company in my 9 to 5. The only time I can allocate to that work is in the morning, but ironically and counterintuitively, that's actually the most important work because that's the key. If I can do that in 5 years, it changes everything. To do that, I need to figure out things that I haven't figured out yet because I've not got there yet. So that's what I leave that room in the day for, because there's still things that I'm figuring out. And unless I know someone that's personally done it, and I say, okay, cool, show me your checking account, explain to me, and even then it's difficult because context matters so much. People's skill set, people's network, people's incentives, people, all of that stuff does matter. So that's why everyone needs time in their day if you're an ambitious man. And I say man, but to be an ambitious person. If you're an ambitious person, I will know because you'll wake up early. If you're determined to do a little bit better than everyone else, then you turn up to work and you do your job, and that's fantastic because there's a place for everyone to do everything. But as soon as you start opening up time to develop yourself, then you can begin quite quickly to blow past others. Because again, I return and I repeat the same point. For the most part, most people are not prepared to wake up at 5 a.m. every fucking work day and actually to be productive. If you do it, yeah, you can change your life and it will be quicker than you think. Much, much quicker, but it will feel like it will hurt in the beginning. But obviously that's why very few people are prepared to walk the path. But many, many more people are prepared to talk the walk. But you need to just walk the walk and that's it.